Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. Today we talk with Arlan Suderman with INTL-FC Stone. We caught up with him a few weeks back and we look at the year that was, the highs, the lows, and what the new year could bring in both the grain and livestock markets. We also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, and weekly updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Advisors.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In Ag News from agview.net, the EPA issued a proposal interim decision on atrazine, which is a widely used herbicide in sorghum and corn. EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler said with common sense action, they're protecting the health of the nation and ensuring that crops like corn and sorghum and sugarcane, as well as hemp, can be protected against a broad spectrum of weeds and pests. Under the administration, the EPA committed, he said, to providing much-needed certainty to farmers and ranchers across the country who rely on crop protection tools to ensure a global supply of products while driving economic growth in agriculture communities across America. Well, the biodiesel tax credit has been extended retroactively from January 1st of 2018 through December 31st of 2022. The $1 per gallon break for biodiesel producers added to that fiscal year 2020 appropriation agreement. Iowa's Chuck Grassley said after years of uncertainty for many Americans, we finally come to an agreement on the future of these temporary tax policies. Many people, he said, in his state, farmers and processors alike, can breathe a sigh of relief that Congress will extend the biodiesel tax credit retroactively through the year 2022. And policymakers in Washington started the year with a blitz of activity on trade, immigration reform, and all that, and finally ended up at the end of the year, but setting up some significant milestones for the U.S. economy and the rural economy, even in the ag sector this coming year, according to the latest Rural Economic Review from CoBank's Knowledge Exchange Division. 2020 starts with limited U.S.-China trade deal, ratification of USMCA. Immigration reform also cleared the House and could be law in this first quarter. The primary Phase 1 trade deal with China likely will add some level of certainty for businesses that are looking to invest. We're still waiting for some more specific details, but the biggest winners seem to be grain and animal protein as well as dairy. Volatile weather, trade tensions, and strong U.S. dollar were key themes impacting grain and oilseed exports and production in the fourth quarter of 2019. Corn and soybean prices weakened, while wheat prices rose as USDA's resurvey of certain spring wheat crops led to a downward revision of production. A challenging fall harvest in the heartland and slow grain exports will give way to increased planting for corn and soybeans in 2020, they say. Optimism over the Phase 1 China deal should benefit producers and input suppliers and exporters as well. So you can find more information online, kansasagreport.net. When we return, a review of the year that was, a look ahead with markets. Arlan Suderman, INTL-FC Stone. Stay with us.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
And joining us now is Arlan Suderman, who is with FC Stone,
INTL-FC Stone.
The INTL-FC Stone. There we go. I knew we'd get all those initials in, but Arlan, always great to catch up with you. And as we kind of look at the broad range of what's going on, looking at 2019, is there a way to describe all the highs and lows of what 2019 brought us?
You know, in 4 decades of working in agriculture, it's probably one of the most challenging and the most fascinating from an observer standpoint, most frustrating from a producer and an end user standpoint as well. Everything that we've thrown at these markets between the weather problems, the production problems, the China up and downs of the trade relations and everything. Very frustrating, and it continues to be so with so much of the crop still in the field.
Well, and that's the thing. This is kind of the harvest that never ends. We thought many in the Midwest would be spending the holidays in the field. Looks like there were some windows to get that completed, but our thoughts go out to those in the north that they got it in the spring, they had it in the fall, and it bleeds over to all of us, really.
Yeah, and you need to have enough protein to dry it. Not only corn, but even we're dealing with some soybeans that having trouble drying down. But it's been one of those frustrating years, not only the ground being muddy, but then the corn being wet as well.
Yeah. All right, Arlen, we always like to talk to you too about our friend, the great wheat crop. It looks like, I guess, what are you looking at as we look at 2020? It seems to be that there may be some opportunity as we go into winter.
There does seem to be. We've got a short crop in Australia. USDA, I don't think, is fully recognizing that yet. We've got a shorter crop in Argentina than what I think they're looking at. We're starting to see supplies tighten up in the Black Sea. It's dry in parts of the Black Sea region, but it's too early to really say too much about that. Mm-hmm. They could have a good spring and still get a good crop. We've had some very cold temperatures of late that may have done a little bit of damage to some of the hard red winter wheat, but overall this crop is starting off incredibly average. When you look at the national numbers, the planting went in about on an average pace, the emergence, the condition of the crop, everything's incredibly average. Nothing there really to stimulate the market, so really looking for that demand to pick up, and hopefully we'll be able to see that seasonally here in the months ahead. Incredibly average.
I mean, that's we have to make sure we give you credit for that as well. So, Arlan Suderman is joining us with INTL-FC Stone. We're going to take a break, talk livestock in just a moment.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com and agview.net, serving the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt with reliable and relevant agriculture information. agview.net.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Arlan Suderman with INTL-FC Stone joins us, and as we look at the livestock trade, it's almost kind of like grains. You go 2019, oh, let's just look at 2020.
Absolutely. African swine fever continues to be the central story. It has not played out the way many producers wanted to expect it. It's fairly well the way that we anticipated. We thought that we'd see those exports ramp up in the fourth quarter. They have, maybe not to the extent yet that we expect. And I think a lot of that is because the buyers of the pork, that a lot of that pork's been bought, but they keep thinking, well, we're so close to a phase one trade agreement when the tariffs can be lifted. Let's wait to ship it and see if those tariffs get lifted. That make a big difference. But on the other hand, you look at that, China lifting the restrictions on U.S. poultry. That's an indication where China has been aggressively going around the world and lifting restrictions wherever they had them, trying to get poultry, beef, pork, all the above, just showing the desperate situation with double-digit food inflation in China because of African swine fever.
At the livestock, the cattle sector, that is, it's been kind of a story of the starts and stops.
It has been. But one of the encouraging things to me is when you look at this product market, very strong product market, and particularly some of the lower cuts, which I think are indicative of what we're seeing on the world market, is buyers globally are starting to worry about this tightening protein supply and looking at alternative meats, and now it's starting to work its way into the U.S. beef product market.
Let's talk about the alternative meat market. And who knows, a year from now, Arlen, we could see either it continuing to be a bigger discussion point or it was a blip on the screen. When we look at the overall picture, not only with the proteins, but even into the commodities, because some are saying some of the soy base doesn't taste too bad. We've got this huge corn supply to get rid of. So talk about how that plays, or is it something that doesn't play at all?
The fascinating thing is all about perception, and the millennials love the thought of an alternative meat, not really paying attention to all of the additives that go in it, which they are supposedly against as well. So I think it's longer than a year. I think in a year we'll be looking at continual growth. I do think it's something that will eventually, they'll start looking at the other side of it, say, look at everything that's in the products in order to make it like meat or whatever. But for now, I think it is a legitimate concern for the meat industry. Fortunately, the African swine fever is increasing demand to offset that. But when that day comes and African swine fever is gone, we're going to need that demand. All
right, Arnold, well, always good to catch up with you, and I'm sure we'll see you down the road at these meetings, and keep it up. So thanks for giving us the scoop of what's going on.
Thank you, Ken.
Arlan Suderman with INTL-FC Stone has joined us. Stay with us. More coming up.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
You don't have to be a farmer or rancher to become a Kansas Farm Bureau member. Anyone can join. As a member, you'll get discounts on things like hotels and entertainment, health and wellness services, cell phone plans, and more. You'll also strengthen the lives of your fellow Kansans and help build strong, prosperous communities through agriculture advocacy and education. Join us today. Visit kfb.org/join to learn more.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
So we're really excited to host our third annual Kansas Corn Symposium. And with that, it's at the K-State Alumni Center on January 23rd. And we'll be having a variety of different events and topics to cover. But we're inviting all corn farmers and industry representatives that would like to come and get an in-depth update. So it starts off 1:30 or 2 o'clock with our annual meeting for the association, where we will vote on and update any policy and priorities as dictated by our members, and also elect our 3 board members for the northern 3 regions. We will then move into a panel that we're really excited about, focused on Mexico. So we're going to have a representative from U.S. Grains Council as well as U.S. Meat Export Federation talking about the projects that we have invested in as the Kansas Corn Checkoff with the Corn Commission in Mexico through those partners. We're also going to have a Mexican consular from the Kansas City office, Consular Navarro, that will be talking about why trade with Mexico is important from the Mexican standpoint as well. We'll move into celebrations for our yield contest winners, our Corn Corps graduates, as well as our Collegiate Academy graduates. We'll also have an update on our K-12 education programs and what we're doing in the world of ethanol. So big afternoon. We'll move into a reception that we bring in our researchers that we're currently working on funding projects with, and then have a dinner and a celebration. Earlier in that day, we're going to start for the first time a risk management workshop. This is designed to truly be a workshop for farmers that either currently have a risk management plan or need to start building one. You can go to kscorn.com/event, and you can find all of our events that we have going on this winter there, and we hope to see many folks out on January 23rd in Manhattan.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Green sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Great Plains Analytical Laboratory, Cereal Ingredients Inc., and their CEO, Robert Hatch, have provided a significant donation to the Kansas Wheat Commission Research Foundation in support of impactful wheat research. The gift will be directed toward ongoing research aimed at developing wheat varieties that result in high-quality baked goods. Hatch is chairman and CEO of Cereal Ingredients Inc., a specialty food ingredients manufacturer he founded in 1990, and CEO of Great Plains Analytical Laboratory, which was founded as a response to a need in the grain, flour, baking, and food industries for a high level of service, response time, and expertise. The Kansas Wheat Commission prides itself in directing farmer checkoff dollars to research that results in high-yielding and high-quality wheat varieties. For more than 50 years, the KWC has provided funding for K-State wheat breeders. For 8 of the past 10 years, that dollar amount has exceeded $1.1 million. The Kansas Wheat Commission Research Foundation differs from the Wheat Checkoff. While the Checkoff does fund wheat research, it is also used for marketing, promotion, and education. Donations to the KWC Research Foundation will be used only for wheat research. Through its Fields Forward campaign, the Kansas Wheat Commission Research Foundation is raising funds to further wheat research efforts that increase the profitability of farmers while improving the quality of wheat for millers, bakers, and consumers. Recent technological breakthroughs in wheat genetics research will allow researchers to accelerate delivery of high-value traits to the market. The recently completed reference map of the bred wheat genome, in conjunction with emerging technologies like gene editing, will assist in identification and integrations of high-quality end-use traits into new wheat varieties. This gift will be used to help support this research.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Dwayne and Sue DeWeese farm 1,400 acres of land where they raise cotton, wheat, corn, milo, soybeans, and alfalfa. Along with their crops, they have a small cow herd. Their future business plan is to pass the farm down to their children. Dwayne first joined Farm Bureau back in 1959 when he bought insurance for his first car. The couple has continued to use KFB to cover their vehicles and farm equipment as they've grown their operation. In the past 10 years, Sue and Dwayne have held leadership positions on the Pratt County Farm Bureau Board. The DeWeeses are very active in their community, serving on multiple boards and committees. Dwayne is currently the chairman of the Board of Trustees at Pratt Community College. Sue is on the board of the Pratt Area Chamber and operates an embroidery business downtown. The couple's vision for Kansas Farm Bureau is to continue advocating for farmers in Kansas by telling stories and educating people about the importance of the agricultural industry.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Livestock Association members approved policy for 2020 during the organization's annual convention in December. Ranchers, feeders, and dairymen provided input during the roundtable meetings last fall and committee and council meetings at the convention, with final approval coming from the general membership. KLA members amended existing policy to oppose allowing fake meat and dairy products and lab-grown meat to inappropriately use nomenclature associated with actual meat and dairy products. In addition, the policy supports legislative, regulatory, or judicial action to protect consumers by ensuring fake meat and dairy products and lab-grown meat are labeled accurately. A new resolution regarding stock water facility permits was approved by the membership. The policy supports a permit that would allow an individual water right to exceed the annual authorized quantity of the individual water right, as long as the facility's total authorized quantity was not exceeded and did not impair a senior water right from the same local source of supply. Members reaffirmed a resolution focused on the protection of private property rights and the use of eminent domain. The policy supports legislative, judicial, and administrative initiatives to prevent the use of eminent domain powers by governmental entities as a tool to protect private property from one party and transfer to another party for profit or private gain. Other issues addressed in KLA policy range from the lesser prairie chicken to animal health to noxious weeds.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Good morning. Mitch Dewar here with Paragon Advisors. Over the past couple weeks, we have experienced some upside in the grain sector. This move is due in part to China and the U.S. agreeing to Phase 1 of a new trade deal. With the grain markets off the lows, both traders and producers are looking to the January 10th USDA report for some direction. In the livestock sector, feeder cattle have been trading sideways, and live cattle have been trading sideways to slightly higher. However, over the past month, the choice and select box beef cutout values have been decreasing, with the choice select spread narrowing. Hogs are up roughly $6 off their most recent lows. 2019 had its fair share of ups and downs, and as it comes to an end, here are some observations. For the grain sector, we had late plantings, corn hit a new 5-year high, KC wheat made a new 14-year low, and soybeans made a new 10-year low. In livestock, we had the Tyson plant fire, which took fat cattle to a 9-year low, and the African swine fever, which drove hog prices up to 5-year highs. What will 2020 bring? Please give us a call here at 888-452-8751 to discuss your marketing plan moving forward. I'm Mitch Dewar with Paragon Advisors.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, bookmarking Kansas Ag Report, your favorite browser. Thank you for your support and comments we've received over the last year. We're looking forward to more improvements to the show as the year develops. I'm Ken Rogers. Come back next week. We bring you another Kansas Ag Report.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.